Well, hello there. Ah, I'm blurry. Make sure this is working real quick. Make sure everything's happy here. I'll fix that. That's good. That's good. That's good. All right. Time for fix. Let's see if it falls over this time. Yep, there she goes. Unplug it, plug it back in. There we go. All right, and then we'll get back to. Oop, I almost forgot to fix this. That one. There we go. All right, so we were working on, we need to parse duration. That's what we were trying to do. And I was running out of juice. But let's go back to see what we can dig up here without using some janky rando third-party library. There's a toString on a duration. There's no from string. The constructor takes days, hours, minutes, etc. We might have to do our own. Because I keep coming across that. But our data which we had here is like that. It's not. This is. There's ISO duration. Who published you? Unverified uploader. No, thank you. There's an issue for it. Still open. Wonder if we can parse time. No, because this isn't a valid timestamp either. What a strange thing to be lacking in a language. So it's either do our own or but we don't have like a timestamp formatted deal, and I'm not sure. Oh, I forgot to mute that. As I was saying, we need to know what possible, I guess, either that or should think of one thing at a time. So in here, we need to look at the, it'll be internal. This would be character manager. Yeah, load status effects. But it's also the this doesn't even have the, maybe just a mistake. This doesn't have duration or tick time. Oh, right, because this is, right, this is the, like the pattern for it, but that should still have, the other place we load it is in the shared, because we used to share this, the library that parsed this stuff. Config manager, status effects, and this has damage per tick and blocks log out and tick time and duration. But we do, the Unmarshaller just fixes it for us. So we probably still need to check the docs for a time.duration. Parse duration. So this optional fraction and unit suffix. And we need this to be interoperable between these two, because we have to also write into a file that this can read, into a format that this can read. But the duration to string method, that's going to output this format. That's not great. That's going to make my life difficult. So in this case, I think what I want to probably do is have my own in Dart. If I have a duration, we can do everything in milliseconds. That's not a problem. Or in seconds. And then we would just need to append the S, which is optional, so we might not need to append it. Is that what I want to do is the question. For the old UI, we had a selector. Let me pull this up. We had this selector for the units. But as long as we output it as seconds, everything should be fine. And the Go parser should just figure it out. There's nothing hard locking us into seconds. I'm just thinking about the gotchas that we might cook up in there, right? Things that are easy to mess up, and then you have trubs. But I think we end up okay. Otherwise, we'd have to do a bunch of extra work to encode it to the file, right? To write it to the file. We'd have to do like, okay, how many, we'd have to do the duration in minutes. How many of that? Cool, that times 60 minus the duration in seconds. And we'd have to build up the string ourselves, which we could do. We could indeed. The this. Can I wonder if I can split a string on a regex. I can. Can indeed. So if we did something like this, right, where we would have so that's the correct, yes it is. And we don't need to worry about nanoseconds. So if we had that, so they're all single except for milliseconds. But we might want milliseconds. Maybe. Let's build assuming we would want it. So that would be not that that'd probably be the safest. We do one or more. That would give us all three of those, so we can split on that. I was thinking about non-white space characters, but that won't, or not non-digit characters, which I guess that would. That would probably be safer to do. That way, if we had any weirdness in here, it lumps it all in there into what gets cut out by the splitter. So in this case, by the regex, yeah, it's gonna omit the match characters. So we can do outside of status effect the class. We can just make a helper. And this is going to take that. This should be that's what that should be. Because we don't want a class, we just want a function. So just thinking about if a null does anything good for us. I don't think it does. So here we're going to take our string and we would do regular expression, and we could do a non-digit one or more, like so. And then we can say is split, we give it regex, and I have walrus when I should not. I'm not in Go. Then we can say well, we can't really make that judgment either, because hours, minutes, seconds, milliseconds. I guess we could. Except for that's not. Can I do that? Oh, I need to. That. This is going to make strings though, right? Then we can say something like invalid. We should single quote this. Invalid split duration length may not contain more than 4 parts. I'm not sure I love that as an error, but we'll deal with it for now. We'll leave it there for now. And then I need to... Duration needs Probably ints, maybe floats. But we need to extract them. Int.parse. Okay, so this is that this is going to be hours. Except this is going to break because we're not guaranteed to have all of these places here. And this is where, okay, so this is where it becomes a problem, because if it, let's just say the first position is hours. Crap. So yeah, we can't do this. We're going to have to do like string matching, like in a switch on here to extract the pieces, essentially. So we're going to have sorry. Like that. Give me 1 second here. I need to go open some windows and use the restroom. I'll be right back. There we go. Hopefully that isn't audible. Fan's pretty low. Okay, so here we need to do that. And then we need to close that one here. We need to know how to split with keeping the delimiter. There's the word I'm looking for. Split with regex and keep delimiter. Let's see here. They're saying to use a look ahead. Isn't something I've done a ton of. Let's give that a shot. So it would be that. Right? Question mark equals. Maybe this is a thing that's not in normal regex, but is. They've got it in. Ah, there. It was in parens. That was my mistake. But. Not sure. That's not going to do quite what I want either. So instead of doing it that way, we're just going to need to pull it out, and that's fine. So we need two regexes, basically. That one is this still. The other is going to be... so these need to be in a group. That's any non-white space there. We want... that's not true. It's one or more digit is what it is. So that gives us 10 hour, 1 minute, 90 second. That's it. That's what I want. So here we would need, we're going to rename you. But we're also going to have we'll call it that. I forgot my comma, but that's or my paren, but that's okay. So we'll do this. And I'll fix my typo there. So the first thing we do is that. And then we say, that's still fine. But we don't want that. Because that wouldn't correctly it would miss things. Because if you could have like only one thing, but it could be like 1 nanosecond, which is not valid for this, right? We want an error on an invalid one. So here we would need to do we do an hour abbrev. Let's call it that. Like so. Now what we need to do is go through our list of split parts. Let's check all this up here. We're gonna put this down here. Oh, my 4 is up there, that's why. And I need to remember the Dart syntax for that. By remember, I mean look up. Do a regular I. Oh, I could just do that. Then I can say can I directly... No, let's just do this. You can come up here with this because we're about to use you. So then we can say we'll split you on num split. This needs to be 2. If it's not... Ugh, what was the length again? It's that. Throw an exception. We say duration chunk is malformed, let's just say. If we don't throw, then when you come down here, these guys actually... We're going to set these to 0. I'm going to fix that because it bothers me. We're going to switch on chunk parts 1. Can I not do that? I can't do that. So, case hours abbrev. This needs to be and you don't throw format exception, so that should be fine. Oh, I do need to make you non-final for me to do that. Right. True. True, true, true. Case. Minute abbreviation. Hello, Ava. How are you? I'm wondering if these need to be floats. We'll see. Default. We're going to throw an exception. Invalid. Unit. This needs to be... Oops. In squirrely braces, like so. Invalid unit in duration string, call that. You're okay, what am I doing? I'm working on rebuilding my editor in Flutter because the library that I was trying to use is just too early days. So all of you need to get deleted. This becomes hours. That becomes minutes. That becomes seconds. That becomes milliseconds. And I think... Can I just directly return this? Can. Okay. So this is going to become parse duration, JSON, and why don't I use LLM? Because I like coding. And then my formatting here. It's going to be for duration. It's called duration. Like so. I also need tick time. Same thing. Tick time. You're not a fan of what? Coding? Oh, I need, this is commas. Just to make sure we are stringy. And then this, not that. No, LLM's gotcha. Yeah, me neither. But you are as int. And then as bool. Okay. What am I missing in here? From JSON. That's what I'm missing. Because this whole monstrosity is a single deal there. Why, you don't seem to want to format. Okay. We forgot a comma there. That's probably why it's not formatting. There we go. Which language is this? Dart. Okay. Then we need, and I need to look at my other one. We need a 2 JSON. I also need to do that while I'm here. There we go. Make sure I can still see chat. Okay, so the 2 JSON, it's a map string dynamic. Let me arrow funk you out here. And then we need to do is go back. And then this is just that. Right? Yes. And we go through our list of, where'd you go? Parameters. Name is name. Description. Help text is help text. Stacks with other. Stacks with other. Stacks with self. Pt.2 modify ID. Modifier. I think these need to be, though, Oh, I almost forgot. Duration needs to go in there for when we have it, and then tick time, and then damage per tick, blocks log out. I think though that these are gonna need to be, those should be set. What did I make nullifiable? Stacks with the, no, property to modify ID. This would be, can I do this in line, I wonder? I don't think I can do this. I wonder if I can ternary it. No, I can't do that either. Would you get in there? What are you working on? I'm new here. I'm working on the editor for my game engine. Rebuilding it in Flutter. Yes, it is Dart. I answered that. Is there already a way? I mean, Flutter is just a framework, right? Dart is the language. Is there a way to omit null easily? Does it automatically do it? I have questions. Because I want it to be cross-platform and I don't want to do a bunch of build work on it. They're saying this is something else. This isn't. Been doing some engine stuff in Odin and C++ separately. That's a pain to build. Gotcha, yeah. Yeah, I just don't want to mess with a bunch of different platform specific code and stuff, right? That's I'd love to write it in one language and just let it build for Windows and Linux. Probably not Mac because they'll make me jump through hoops, right? But like at least 2 platforms. And also for web. It'd be nice to have like a demo client that people could play with just to see if they want to play, you know? Do I know Rust at all? No, not really. I did a little bit of the Rust book once upon a time. I like the idea of Rust. The whole Rust committee or whatever they call themselves, Rust Foundation, and the huge deal they made about people like using their using Ferris for like video thumbnails and stuff, and the whole kerfluffle around that really kind of turned me off to the language, because you know if the people running it are going to be super weird about it like that, do I really want to be involved in that? Yeah, with Xcode and Mac signing, yeah, I thought so. I haven't really looked into it just because like I'm not going to buy a Mac just to build it, you know. Apple doesn't like indie developers. I don't think they like anybody. Judging by the screenshots I've seen of their latest release and its usability issues, I don't think they like anybody. What's going on here? Looks like this might have already been added in. Hard to say. I made game engine videos for Rust a few years ago, and I need to change the descriptions and pin comments in order to comply to be safe. They didn't reach out or anything. Yeah, but like, let people like there's repos of the little Golang gophers that are completely, you know, MIT free, whatever. And people use them all the time, and it's instantly makes it recognizable what your video is about, right? So encourage people to make content about your thing. So it might already be. We're gonna rock with this for now, and we'll see if it writes wonky stuff or not. We'll probably need to write tests for this, because this is something we can test very easily, or relatively easily anyway. But that, I think, gets that part done. Let me think here. Yes, I think we can do this in a test, just at this stage, even to make sure we're doing this correctly. So for this, we're gonna follow Dart's kind of janky idea that this should live in test. We're gonna do that. Dart is a pretty cool language. It kind of feels like what TypeScript wanted to be. Kind of, yeah. It's definitely got some JavaScriptiness to it. But all in all, I like it, yeah. It's not completely terrible, that's for sure. Okay, so you, and I gotta remember what I need to do for. I need to do a main. And then this is for testing widgets. So I don't need to do all that. And I just need to do inside of here Um, does this work without? So I need to give it a name. It will say that. Oops. And then I need tester, and it's async. Oh no, this is test widgets, and it's only for Flutter. Need to look at the syntax. Test file. Oh, it's just test. Okay. And then I need to make sure it doesn't exist, but these are the Dart or the Flutter docs. Main test. Oh. This. No. They've got different syntax in here. That's what they're doing. I don't need tester though, I just need this. Okay. We're still unhappy. These are not the same. Package test. Package is test. Do we not have you Flutter test? Do I need this or do I use the Flutter test? Can I get away with that even if I'm not testing Flutter code but just Dart? I have questions. What if I do that? Just for fun. Okay. And then in here, because if I can just use Flutter test, then I'll just keep it simple, right? Leave that open just in case. Okay, so here we can do I don't think this can be static though. No, I can't. So what we're gonna do is copy our data here that we used, like so. No durations. And then we should be able to say and I need to look back at what I did for the unmarshal, which JSON unmarshal I was using. That'd be in connection. Just pull this over here. Oops. And it would be login would have it. Any on message might have it. JSON decode data and then message from JSON. Okay. So this is just the and then you They're just called status effect. Is this because you're not package screens? That's not it. I should be able to just do editor screens. Okay, there we go. Status effects model. Why are you not happy? Oh, duh. Okay, that fixes that. And then we expect, now we need to just say, and what's the Dart? Up, 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 up. So we're going to say the result why can't I get move you over here so I can see both these things. Oh. That would be the UUID should be except import for me. There we go. This should be from. Can I do that? I can. Okay. Is there a better way to do these? Expect? For a data clash. This is not helpful. I'd have to either do... I'd either have to override the double equal operator, or same matcher. Might just be that the best way without adding code that's only for a test is to just write them all as expects. Same as for if they're the exact same through references to the same object, which explains why that guy said it didn't work for him. Because we're only interested in values. If I was to create a new object with the expected values and do same on it, it would not be the same. See if there's anybody else talking about... Yeah, without... Without that overloading, I think this is just what we gotta do. Okay. It sucks, but like... Unless I'm missing something, which is entirely possible. I'm very new to Dart. And I want to make sure that I don't miss... Do a property modify ID. But this is also UID value, oops, from string. That, and then duration should be null. Tick time should be null. Don't think that should be there if it's 0. But that would be in the a bug in the Go code if it existed. And then damage per tick, get tick time, got duration. Yeah, it would just be that. Let's see what happens. Hopefully that's just taking a second to build everything. Yes, okay. Null is not a subtype of string in typecast. Okay, so yeah, okay. I was worried about that. We've caught a bug, which is good. Do I put it there? No, I can't do that. Can I do this? Oops. I can do that. So I need to do the same thing here. But not that, forgot my braces, that's what I did. That. No, it's not a subtype of bool, okay. Okay. What did we miss here? Locks logout is in there. Stacked with other, stacks with self. That's some type of bool. Locks, log out. Stacks with other. Stacks with self. Could I debug? Let's see where it barfs. That was where it was, but that was at... Go, I want you to go, okay, hang on. I think it was at stacks with other. Just definitely in there. Name, description, help test. Stack, oh, stacks with self. No. Property to modify, ID. Modifier. Duration. Duration. Okay. Done something wrong with duration. Because there is no duration here. Yeah. Get out of there. Null is not a subtype of bool. I bet you this is not allowed. This I need to switch to. Contains key. That. Betcha. Yes, perfect. Because this, when I did it this way, if it's not here, it returns a null. So I could probably also do, just for the sake of testing, could I do that? I don't remember if I need to call that or if it's just a thing. It's not null was called. I could also just do Yeah, that would work too. But it's... Oh, because I backed up. It's much nicer to read this way. So we'll leave it there. Like so. Okay, now we need to do one with durations to make sure our durations get parsed out correctly. And I'm going to want to modify the test data a little bit for this. I just do that. That's all still good. I did check modifier, right? Modifier, yes, okay. Now, you come after here, right? Where's my... Too many windows. But I need them all. Modifier duration, yeah. So... let's do a duration of... we'll keep 60s. And I should be doing this, oops. I keep forgetting to do this. Dart wants single quotes, so we'll do what they desire. So 60s for that, and then let's do for tick time on this one. We're gonna take damage per tick out. 1 hour. And this is gonna have to be this just hard coded in because oops, it was tick time. It's not that one. It's let's make this a little bit spicier. 10 makes no sense for a game, but it's great sense for a test. Okay. Duration chunk is malformed. Interesting. But that's also empty. Did I screw the pooch on this one, perhaps? Debug to the rescue. So we should have chunk splits. Or split parts, rather. Is empty. Duration string. Split parts is 2. They're both empty. Did I... This needs to get changed. Yeah, stop. Stop it. This needs to be non-white space. Otherwise, it's going to include control characters, which we might have in there somehow. Which might be part of our problem. Now, split parts is 2, but they're still both empty. Duration string is 60 seconds. Because it's a split. It chopped up. Dang it. I don't want to split. I've done that wrong. That's why it's broken. This is why we test. So it's matching this and it's extracting it, which leaves nothing and nothing. So 2 empty strings. What I actually want to do is get a regex match, I think, here. Or do a forward look. Might work. Just for fun. What happens if I do that? Since we're already here. Chunk 6 is malformed. So we get 60 seconds. Split parts is now 6 and then 0. Okay, yeah. I kind of didn't think so. I would need to do... What were they saying here? I think I would need to do this, but that would need to then be in this, which is just horrible and ugly, but like, eh. Split parts. Nope, still broken. Okay, interesting. Okay. I'm not opposed to pulling the matches out. What if instead of this, which is horrible and ugly, we do... not that, but, this. Like so. This returns matches, though. Which would be fine. still in. That's part of why. This would now be that. Don't know if I can do this or not. No. Let's roll this back real quick. No, I can't do that either. I don't really want to pull. But I might just have to do it and deal with it. But I've got the same. This one might still work with the look ahead. It's really just this one we gotta fix. If we go back to this, that's still that. This is no longer a string though. This what are you though? I guess you would be a match, like so, which would be more correct than using var, or more particular, I guess you might say. But then we wouldn't be able to do this. We would then have to do How do I get your data out of you? I don't want named groups. Really? I guess to string you. Can we do that? Is that valid and good and all that? You're malformed, okay. Let's go here. So our chunk parts. That's not it. ToString is not the answer. That's what we've learned there. But how do I get the string out of you? Ooh, groups, okay. They do regex really weird in Dart. What? I don't understand this at all. It's a terrible example. String matched by the given group. Oh, that's why. It could be null, so I need to say, look, you're not gonna be null. You're not allowed. And then our chunk match Then chunk parts works correctly. I think we're good here now. Okay, we just need to fix now. Null is not a subtype of int in int type class. Because we didn't give you. So we need to do the same thing for all of these that can be nullable. Not that, but... we need to do that. These other ones have defaults, so they should be in there, theoretically. And that would resolve our test. Couple little gotchas in Dartland there. Not a huge fan of, but so here we're gonna want to have to make sure the do it up here. And we're going to say malformed duration string contains no durations. We're going to put you in quotes here, and you are duration string. Like so. This is going to tell me I should use is empty, sure. And we could test that to make sure. We can just copy you. Let's say fails with bad duration. Chuck this in here, and for duration, we're gonna say 60 mu. And then we should see Dart expect exception. Keep coding. I will. I do. I say instead of all of this, I say throws exception. Except except for it's throwing and it's not. Huh. This should be Oh, this didn't throw, actually. It threw a different exception, which still should have passed, but we should fix that. So if we get up in here, split parts. Right, this is not... I think this ran the whole thing. Okay, here, this is the one. So you're still not technically empty. Oh no, okay. That's correct. It did parse out. This would need to be just a string. This should correctly throw that we contain no durations. Yes. No durations. Our test failed, so we need to fix that. But it's still throwing and not actually working. Throws exception. Like, we can do it manually, but... Wonder why. This must be only for Dart's test. This is because we're using Flutter. I bet you that's why. Betcha, betcha, betcha. Yeah, they're importing test Dart on top as well. Okay, so here's what we can do instead. I saw an example of this. So we can just do a standard try block here. Get rid of that. And then we can do I think I need to do that. Yes. And then I can say but I'm not catching. Can I just do this? If I use the correct quotes, it would make my life easier. Um, I'm doing something incorrectly syntax-wise here. Throw. It's on exception. Catch E. That's what I'm doing incorrectly. There. Otherwise, if it gets to here, we throw an exception ourselves. Can we do that? This needs to be it's just toString or yeah, I think it is. Let's give that a shot. Okay, that's fine. Obviously, this is a magic string. We don't want to do this really, but I think I would need to return here. No, how would I say? Oh, it would be it'd be there instead. Not inside of the expect block. Yeah, there we go. And then if I break that intentionally, then we're back to failing because that wasn't correct. Now, I need to figure out a better way to test that. I would want to I guess we could just use... You throw a format exception, and then... This would still require us to... This is annoying. We can still do that, which should still pass. I don't like... I don't really like this fact that this is a hard-coded just error string. Can I do... What if I did this? Which would be slightly better. Oops. I need squirrely braces. This would be slightly better if it worked. Let's find out. Huh. Oh. It would help if I wrote valid syntax. Also no. Oh. See, I forgot a character. I bet you this also is looking for the same object, references the same object, or something like that. I could fix this up in the same way we did to at least make this rely on that. It's still not great, but it is a test, right? So if it's a little fragile, it's a little fragile. But I do need to string it again if I'm going to do that. So we can just roll with that for now. Okay, so. Oops. Wrong button. Close that one. Use this one. We're going to go ahead. What did I change in my pub spec? Oh, yeah, we haven't done a commit since yesterday. Right. So we're going to say rough in the data class, add placeholder for controller file, add tests for the unmarshaller for an effect. It is very nearly time for me, well, it is time for me to go sleep. Pack my lunch, go to bed. Thinking here. Yeah. So tomorrow we will do the tests for the other way around. So, turning one into JSON. Hopefully we can compare maps. We should be able to. And then we'll go get into the file read and write part. Our goal is to read from a test file and output it to the editor UI first, and then we can start organizing things from there, right? So that's what we're going to be doing. If you like this kind of thing and you would like to see more of it, I would love to have you again. Thank you for everybody who did swing by and visit me, and the great chats we had today. I do this thing for roughly 2 hours a day, 4 days a week, usually. I think Monday I'll be off this week. But tomorrow I should be here, and if that changes, I'll let you know as well. But I start at 8 p.m. Central Time. If that doesn't mean anything to you, then Twitch, you can check the schedule that's posted. YouTube, you'll have to do math. I'm sorry. But yeah, I'd love to see you again. And if not, you guys have a great weekend. Anyway, we'll catch you some other time. Thanks again, everybody.